Gather round, dear viewers, and lend me your ears. I've got some quick rules before we shift gears. If you've got something crucial and need interaction, just start with a cue for a swift, snappy reaction. Now, if you're a newbie and want a grand greeting, type N at the start and we'll make it heartwarming and fleeting. So cue for questions. N if you're new. Now let's get this broadcast rolling. It's all up to you.
Ah, yes, we are here. It is Saturday. The world is well. It is good to see you all. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together where we look for valuable connections, not collections, or maybe collections of connections. Why do I know? I hope everybody is well. Today is June 8th. The sky. I don't know if you looked out the window yesterday, but I took a little mini nap in the afternoon, and then I looked out my window in the bedroom, which faces the mountains, and the sky was looking angrier. Not bad angry, but the kind of angry that the sky displays when it's going to be raining soon. And the air, I can just smell it. It'll just happen in a matter of days. Logan says that it'll happen. I think Logan had a bet on the 18th of this month. I don't know. I don't place bets, but I am so very happy that the weather is changing, and I hope you are too. So, speaking of changing weather, most of the news that we have today are about elections, but only because the dust is finally settling. So, for those of you that have been interested in the elections, it's been so wonderful to answer your questions and get involved and inquire and research, because I'll be the first person to admit I used to be very non-political in the past, but I figured since Coffee and Headlines started, I thought to myself, I might as well become educated. So, for those of you that have been asking me questions about the elections and Mexico and government and narco and this and security and all that, thank you for being interested. And for those of you that are not as interested in local politics, no shame, but it's going to be over soon. So, because the dust is settling. What do I mean by that? Well, here we go. For starters, local Morena party representative Miroslava Dorado Fernandez has announced that the party will not attempt to invalidate the local election for mayor, as they announced yesterday, but will join forces with the state of Jalisco to attempt to invalidate the results for the government race, which of course Morena did not win, and I'll have more information on this in a bit. Meanwhile, federal deputy Bruno Blancas, who sought re-election, as our federal deputy, was reelected, and he has received his official certificate. So that is a done deal. He represents Puerto Vallarta, and he is a member of the Morena party. And as announced yesterday, Yusara Canales has been elected as local deputy for Puerto Vallarta, with more votes for local deputy than have ever been registered before in our electoral district. She won by a landslide. She is a member of the Sigamos Haciendo Historia in Jalisco coalition, so that is also a done deal. Federal deputy, local deputy, done deal. Now, Pablo Lemus, former Zapopan mayor, has been confirmed as Jalisco's new governor. He represents the Movimiento Ciudadano party. And to understand why Morena is unhappy about him winning and would like to invalidate his election or contest the election results, all you have to do is look at this little map. See all this like Harvard purple color? Crimson? Okay, that is the Morena party. They would like to be all over Mexico, and that makes perfect sense. Who wouldn't? This yellow, these two states, Coahuila and Durango, are represented by the PRI party. And let us remember that the PRI party, the Revolutionary Party, led the country for decades. So to see that the PRI is no longer as big as it was is quite interesting to see. The same thing can be said about the blue states, which are the PAN states. You know, in the past, it was either PRI or PAN that ruled the country. And of course, there's only four states that are in the blue color. Now, this light orange color is the Movimiento Ciudadano. And our state has been traditionally a Movimiento Ciudadano party state, along with the state of Nuevo León. This is where I was born, by the way. So, needless to say, the Morena party would love to get into our state. And of course, the Morena party would like to believe that, or they cannot believe that they did not win in Jalisco. So this is the reason why they will attempt to invalidate the Jalisco governor results in our state. Whether that'll happen, whether they will succeed or not, is a matter of time. But for the most part, we're done with elections. And now you're probably wondering what's next, or at least what's next for Puerto Vallarta. Well, our new mayor has there are two things that need to happen. Number one, our new mayor has to elect his cabinet. And even though he has barely been announced as the winner, there's already speculation as to who is going to be what in the new government. So he has to announce his cabinet. And then the second thing that has to happen is, of course, oh, we lost my kitty. That's not nice. Well, Luna is around, no worries. The other thing that needs to happen locally is the confirmation, and I'm at a loss of words. The city council needs to be announced, and it's not like anyone can be in the city council. The membership or the number of seats per party on the city council gets determined by the number of votes received. It's actually a complicated formula that I personally don't understand, but the more votes you get, the more seats you get in the council. So we will be hearing from the local government at some point in the near future who will actually be part of the city council moving forward. For example, Chuyita Lopez, who famously did not win for Morena party as a mayor, I believe she will have a seat at the city council. So it's not like she's going away, but she will still have the option to be part of the council. But I don't want to get into that until I see the list of the definitive council members, so we can talk about this more accurately. And I think this brings us to the end of our big electoral coverage that we've undertaken for the last few months. All we have to do is wait for things to happen. Of course, there's more to it than that. The local government still has 2-3 months to go. So all kinds of good things could happen and all kinds of really crappy things could happen. We know that often things get authorized in the last few weeks that shouldn't get authorized, but I don't want to get ahead of me. We'll just wait and see. Now, I do have one more bit of news that I want to share with you, and this is not necessarily good news, but it's important to know. According to the World Meteorological Organization, is there such a word in English? The World Weather Organization. Let's just say that. This upcoming hurricane season is expected to be one of the worst in history due to unusually high ocean temperatures. Mexico is expecting between 15 to 18 hurricanes in the Pacific Ocean and between 20 and 23 in the Atlantic. So by really ugly, I hope it's not going to be super duper ugly, but there's only so much we can do when nature decides to, well, get ugly. And speaking of, let us take a quick look at what the weather forecast has to say. Let me switch over. It says it's partly cloudy, meat bag. It is 29 degrees right now. Humidity is at 75%, which is quite lovely. And then I can tell you that our forecast for today is humid with partly cloudy skies throughout the day, a chance of rain of 10%, a high of 31, and a low of 26. Tomorrow will be another humid day with a high of 31 and a low of 26, and a chance of rain of 20% for tomorrow. And then Monday, partly cloudy skies in the morning with overcast skies in the afternoon, a high of 31 and a low of 25, and a chance of rain of 12%. So it might rain tomorrow, it might not. I did hear from my friends Claudio and Lucas, our friends Claudio and Lucas that live in the mountains, that they got a little bit of a drizzle yesterday. So it is a matter of days, I hope. Moving right along, I just want to remind you very quickly that there's going to be a parkour challenge on the Malecon today. If you want to see a bunch of young people doing acrobatic things with their skateboards and whatnot, this is going to happen this afternoon near the northernmost point of the Quale pedestrian bridge. And of course, the watch pages and the registration page for the next edition of the Spotlight have been announced and published, and I will include them in the show notes today. And I already know that we have one confirmed guest or guests, as in plural, for this coming Wednesday. We're going to have Brothers Lam and Sean Yuen, and I may be mispronouncing their last names. I hope I'm not. They run a holistic clinic here in Puerto Vallarta called Satisana. They were previously digital nomads, and they decided to settle here in our city with the mission to awaken our mindfulness to see the roots of our issues and address them through a variety of alternative treatments and therapies. I am very excited about this connection. I am sure we will learn fascinating information about them and also about what they do, what they bring to the table. So, if you know of anybody that is doing wonderful things that we should know about, please mention the Spotlight to them. It is very much appreciated. A couple of other people have been knocking on my door, so I'm grateful that the Spotlight is moving forward, slowly but surely. Let's see what we have today. Lots of good mornings, which I appreciate. I tell you, Dan, you know me. I imagine your sandbar to be this. I actually asked artificial intelligence to draw the sandbar that I imagine Kathy and Den live in, and I sent them a picture, and they giggled, and they said, well, our house is a lot smaller than that. But they never sent me photos of their sandbar, which is okay. It's okay. Let's see. Waterfront Festival in or what? Aurelia. this afternoon. Going to be fun if rain holds off. Waterfront Festival, that sounds like a lot of fun. I love it. Let's see. Oh, there's a queue. Thank you very much for that. In Puerto Vallarta, we work to live, not live to work. We don't fight against time. We flow with it like a river. Coming from the United States, I had to slow down and learn this. Happier days. Thank you very much for that, David. Yes, it is most definitely a different pace. I think every place has a different pace. Oh my God, that is so precious. Ran across a t-shirt and thought of Logan. It said 25% stud and 75% muffin. Please buy one extra large for me and I will reimburse you when you come back. I think that's adorable. Let's see. Laura is still looking for favorite bakeries in Emiliano Zapata or Cinco de Diciembre. Again, because it's not my turf, I can tell you great bakeries in Versalles, but unfortunately I'm not familiar with the ones in those neighborhoods. Laura says, I think a new president and politics switch up is good as long as they do good things as promised or at least try. Well, again, Laura, we're going to keep our fingers crossed. It can't get worse, or I suppose it could, but I am actually hoping that we will see new and exciting things moving forward. We all hope that will be the case. Mark Jennings asks, sorry, Paco, but what are the deputy positions? That's a really good question. The federal deputy sits in the federation, which means that whenever there are big meetings in Mexico City at the chambers, there is one federal deputy over there that makes sure that Puerto Vallarta's interests are taken into account. Whereas the local deputy ensures that our local interests are taken into account. So every state in Mexico has a federal deputy, and every municipality has a local deputy. That's the way it works. So the reason we have the federal deputies in place is so that when Congress gets together to vote on this, that, and the other, we make sure that our cities are well represented. And I'm sure I can come up with a better explanation, but I hope this one is good enough for now. If not, I'll be happy to research further. Just write the word deputy in your comments and I'll look into this with a little bit more detail. But thank you for that question. I think it's a great question and one that I would not have been able to answer 4 years ago. Did the dispute in Mismaloya over the land ever get resolved? Yes. That was a long-standing issue? Yes. Yes, it was resolved because, oh my God, I don't want to get into specifics because I could get it wrong, but I think it boils down to the fact that the person that raised the issue many years ago passed away, and then it was his family that was trying to push forward with vacating people from Mismaloya, and the law said, well, wait a second, if the person that is unhappy is no longer in this world, who are you to be complaining? And that's a very simple way to look at it, but that is pretty much what happened, if I recall correctly. Let's see what else. Let's see what else. Of course she is. Luna is a beauty. Oh, God bless you, Linda. Thank you for the election news. I'm still trying to figure it all out. That makes two of us. I'm Mexican national. I'm supposed to understand these things. So I thank you for being patient with me as I'm trying to simplify the whole thing for all of us. Linda, hello, Linda. Long time no see. Thank you so much for the detailed explanation of how the elections work here. I've often thought there should be a civics class for us transplants. I don't know that people would attend. But I am very humbled when I get questions about local politics. We were at my latest music appreciation presentation earlier this week, and we had a lively discussion about elections while we were waiting for the time to start. And again, it's just so nice to run into those of you that are invested at that level with living here. That's what makes Coffee and Headlines thrive and be a special place, at least for me. Let's see. Remind us of the promises made by the winning mayor candidate. Oh, Lord have mercy. Um, oh, he was all over the place, Jonathan. He talked about underpasses. He talked about water taxis to Punta de Mita. He talked about elevated transportation. I mean, some of his things were a little kooky, others not so much. I will go back in my files and look at the promises, because I remember we went through a week's worth of promises when he started running his campaign. Um, La Galette Patisserie in Emiliano Zapata is terrific. There you go. And Albert says, Laura, look on the map and start trying them all. Bakeries, that's what I did. One person's best or favorite is not always someone else's. That's part of the fun of being in Puerto Vallarta, trying it all. That is such wise advice. Thank you very much for that, Albert. You know, a lot of times, we have to allow ourselves to just be a little bit of a little bit adventurous, and that I think that is beautiful advice. Thank you for the explanation. Thank you for the question, Mark. As long as you guys are curious, I'm happy to do whatever I can to clarify things that I can. And the other ones, I'll make sure that Luna comes up with a good explanation. Yes. Maybe you could host a politics appreciation. I would attend, says Linda Eggerer. I've heard that suggestion. And I'll definitely keep it in consideration. Why not? Chris asks, where would one find the info on election results for Miss Maloya? The Electoral Institute has a website that has all that information. I forget the website right now, but that is where one would find out that information. Oh, Albert, I do miss you. I do miss you whenever we have like food adventures together. Albert says, oh my God, the bakery on Vienna, Celebrations it's called. And yes, they have these guava scones that are they're orgasmic. They are absolutely wonderful. But as Albert said, we all have our favorites, and we all want to vouch for our favorites. And that's part of human nature. And I'm starting to ramble, which means it's time to go. Thank you so much for another week. Thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you so much for your questions. They are so important to me. They really are. Because if you didn't have questions, what would I be doing here? It is Saturday. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself this weekend, but I know there's crochet on my table. There's a queue on my Netflix. There are groceries to be purchased. There are videos to be edited. So it's got to be a good one. I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope to see you again Monday morning. Have a good one.